it is very nice to see that Bitcoin is close to its all-time highs. Altcoin market is trying to go through that same road. Altcoin market right now is near that local highs, trying to break through to the next leg. But it is slow as the money flow is still slowly entering Bitcoin. Large cap assets in the altcoin side is still at this point. This is XRP showing you the fact that we're still waiting for that impulse. But the best thing is that we did not invalidate this. We are still holding on to this breakout, which increases the optimistic view, which if you connect with the reality which is happening right now, it kind of seems like, okay, all of these are playing out. Now, some of these may be a little bit of hype, but most of it looks like conservative and relevant information. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. I'm so happy to see a lot of people dropping comments in the last video. It was really hard, and today to get this level of voice back, it took a lot of extra things as well. But I'm so happy to see this amount of response from you guys, to see that level of support. Usually it's like this, 18, 20, 30 comments, whereas the last video literally was like 144 comments. And I was surprised a little bit because I saw like, okay, someone actually gave a thumbs down, and I'm like, maybe that's a new guy, right? Because we try to give you the maximum value for the time you spend here in this channel. Now, let's directly get back to what we are looking at. When we bounce off, we should not forget where we started this from. That's why I'm showing you this. Because when we were at the bottom, I gave you this thought process. We're going to do this. Fine. That's good. That's cool. Right now, the odds are still to the upside, right? For you or me to come out and say, nah, it's done, we're going to drop, we need to see the market giving us a confirmation. So that confirmation here on a 3-day, right now it's not there. Now, if you're a super conservative investor, yeah, you're out. With this, you're out. But right now, on a weekly, you still don't have it. Right now, on the monthly, you still don't have it. So we can still use this market to make decent gains. One of the primary reasons for my thought process is this price structure itself. Last time we saw something like this was here. Great. Perfect. We had something similar here too. So let's see if the price is going to do that. If it is, then we can literally see the altcoins running. The session 1 here was the major blast off. The session 2 was more like gaming coins. Those coins which did not complete wave 2 went on. So that kind of move was there. Agreed. But right now, when we do move to the upside, you have to anchor your expectations to see, okay, last time there was like a 6 to 7% move from one high to the other one. Here was like, 3 to 4% run up. Great, fine. So if you do come into the market and plot that, and you wanted to see, okay, if that's playing out, how would that play out? And most likely, what would be the response from the altcoin market, right? This is something to keep in mind. So the first one, when you do move up that 6 to 7%, you are talking something like 78,000, 79,000 move in Bitcoin price. That's not a small move. That's a decent move from where we are. The price structure is showing you a possible three-wave structure. If it does give you that kind of a structure, think about what it has done in the recent past after completing such a structure. Based on what we have seen in this entire cycle, I would actually look at this and say, okay, if these guys have literally made a trap before you went down each and every time, then I would at least expect something similar. Now, if they surprise me, I'm fine. But if they are to repeat that, I don't want to get stuck there. Now, if they are to repeat that, from that range, you're looking at least 21 to 22% drop. That has been the average throughout this Bitcoin cycle, which means the drop from like 78, 79,000 to 60,000 is going to create some panic. I mean, I don't see any other way around. When the price moves up, you will see altcoins joining the party. One of the biggest things you need to keep in mind is while this phase plays out, you will see a range. That range, we call it as distribution. So initially you get an accumulation, reaccumulation, a small reaccumulation, then you reach the top, you start doing distribution at one point. Now we don't know whether it's going to happen here. This is a speculation from my end based on what we have seen in the history. Now, you go back on the weekly chart. Now we are like, okay, fine. We are observing something here in the market. We had a drop in the market. Last time that happened, it signaled that the next run up was not parabolic. It was met with significant resistance, which means this time around we can anticipate something. It's going to go up. It's going to see some level of selling pressure. Now, you cannot actually put the argument like, why wouldn't they sell? Because most of them would have bought in this range. That was a long time, like 200 days or plus. Others would have entered here. So all of them are in a decent profits, except those who bought in here at the all-time highs with the fake out. Now, on a macro cycle view, you have to look at it. We're at the all-time highs. We came back. We retested. We are bouncing off from that level, which looks really positive. Right? So I'm thinking with all the information in the market, with the halving coming, and already the price running way higher than the historical levels, there is a correction which is due. We all understand that. But where is it going to start? How is it going to impact the altcoin market? That is going to be the biggest concern. So if the altcoin market is reaching here, and that's where Bitcoin is dropping, I would look for something like this. A bigger drop. Now, when I say bigger drop, I mean something like this. 20% at least on the average fluctuation. Which means some of those assets which usually drop much more will drop even more. Maybe 30%, maybe 40%. So you will see all of them doing somewhat like that. And you don't want to go crazy there, right? Because you understand the fact that this asset class right now is showing exceptional resilience against the economy. Exceptional resilience in terms of the bullish strength. You're still holding on to this level. But what matters here is the direction of the strength. Strength is still going up. There is no doubt in that. You don't have a negative divergence. You are running higher. You have a long way to go. So I repeat, next 30 to 40 days, if we start getting a continuation like this, 2-3 different candles. So right now, in next 1 week, you'll see this candle closing. And then in another week, you'll see how we open the next month. So in next 30, 40 days, you'll actually literally see this candle compared with this candle compared with the next one. That's April. And that's going to give you a lot of clue, like are we at the top or are we even getting close to that? Because the volume part for me shows a huge signal. Maybe a lot of you don't care, but I do. This range of volume, historical move, if you actually take this and plot it, you'll see there was a break in the volume. And when that break in the volume happened, it literally coincided with the first burst. Then you had 3 months. Perfect. So you have that happening in front of you here. That candle was substantially bigger than the last 2 candles, which was again great. Now, if we are to expect that, there's going to be a good March. It is already. It was volatile, but it still is great. We have a great April coming to us and a May most likely. Because once you enter here, the next couple of candles here, it's going to give you the biggest ROI. There will be volatility, which you'll have to play with. There is no other way. But once you understand this, now you're comparing the same exact thing with Bitcoin. What do you see here? I mean, in altcoins, you're seeing that the volume is coming back towards the level of 2021. In Bitcoin, do you see anything? I mean, you need to zoom in to reach where we are to see that the volume is going down. So the arguments made on the other end, the supply, the demand, the price explosion, take it with a little bit caution, right? So the money is moving into crypto ecosystem for sure, but for alt market, now this is excluding Ether, it is getting more and more interesting. Now, say for example, you take in the total 2, including Ether. You're watching almost exactly same. The reason I didn't show you this first is that I wanted to know it's not Ether bringing in that volume. It's the general alts. And it is true. It's not Ether, right? When you see this here, don't expect it's just Ether. There's a lot of different coins which are doing exceptionally well, bringing in a lot of capital, and they're doing fine. Now, if you consider this pattern, if you look at this, maybe you are a bear in this asset class. You're like, crypto is a bubble. Fine. Even at that point, you would be looking at this and saying like, okay, the price still has to go at least 3x to the upside, right? And that would give most likely a 5 to 10x in most of the large caps, maybe 20, 30, 40x in small caps. You will see those. Now, not all of them. The select few with utility, the select few with the market sentiment, the right market sentiment. And that's one of the reasons why I was going through a lot of different assets showing you if you are a spot rider, if you don't do leverage, these assets are going to give you great opportunity. If you do leverage, okay, these are the other opportunities. So you need to understand that. Because if not, the market will slap you. And especially if you go highly levered, don't doubt it. The market will do that. Now, after the last phase of a breakout like this, the price did do this. So expecting something like this won't be bad. Now the scale here can look awkward, but remember the price action can do something like this. It is not a bad thing. But putting the argument that altcoin market going to $8 trillion means crypto is somewhat like $12 trillion. Most likely the Bitcoin dominance would come back to 30 at that stage. Otherwise, if it's still at 50, you're talking about a $15 trillion market, right? So I would argue that Bitcoin dominance should drop. Now it connects well for me. Meaning I'm watching the volume, the money, the sentiment coming back into the altcoins just like what we saw last time. It's not happening in Bitcoin. You go weekly, you go monthly, you see volume, good, great. But as soon as you start zooming out, we're nowhere near what we had in 2023. We're nowhere near what we had back in 2021. That's awkward to say that ton of money is rolling into this market, but for some reason it's not entering here, right? But in altcoins, it's visible. That's where you go on. The most hated assets. In that list, most probably XRP would top. You see the volume has stayed almost decent throughout all this range. Now it's slowly starting to rise, but you're nowhere near this territory of 2021. But you do see that it didn't drop to nuts compared to 2021. That's exactly what happened here in Bitcoin. If you compare this level, you will have to put the argument like, okay, there is no comparison. You're nowhere near. Even when you actually look at this range of 50x, those kind of crash, yeah, the investor sentiment went down. That's massively lower than what it used to be. So the assets which retained that level of interest in the market, the moment you see these big movements start, they will add on to that momentum. They will push higher. Now, am I literally saying it's going to go to $800? No, I don't really think that's possible. I would look for that 10 to 27 or somewhat in between as an average fluctuation for my portfolio. That's where I would like to exit. But I would definitely follow the market, and I definitely believe that the market shows you where to exit. Because if it fakes out once and it kicks you, next time when it fakes out, don't let it kick you, right? Let's actually move out. So if you've been there in the last cycle and the market slapped you, this time, before that, it's up to us to make the right decision to jump out, to take that profit and move out. So right now, if you're levered, be cautious. Some of those assets are looking risky. If you're a spot rider, okay, watch Bitcoin at least on a daily. If you get the signal from Bitcoin saying, okay, then take profits. Until then, ride this. This wave is going to give you a lot of opportunities. Wherever this lasts, wherever it is, use that. Because at that point, you will see that the wave one here, okay, that was a little bigger. Let's be realistic. Okay, wave one here was like this, and wave two and a wave three. Here you got very, very small and quick wave one. So it's not compared to this leg. So I wouldn't be looking at a similar leg here. I would be looking at this one. That's okay. That's normal. That's realistic. At this part of the market cycle, or this phase of the market cycle, being realistic and staying away from hype matters. Because we are not here or here. We came a long way above that. So understanding where you're going parabolic, understanding when the market is in a euphoric territory is important. This asset class went through a lot. And that's one of the reasons why you don't see the volume here. The investor sentiment, the interest, it's not back yet. Imagine the price of Bitcoin is at all-time highs and you still don't have the volume. How do you make that up? And you're seeing exceptionally well increasing volume in some of these altcoins. Now that makes a lot of sense, meaning some of them already reached close to that 2021 highs range in volume terms. That means the interest in altcoins are increasing. So if you have a big bag of altcoins, don't just jump out listening to a lot of guys who say Bitcoin is going to reach 500,000 or 1,000,000 or any big numbers. So guys, if you received value for your time and you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do that for me. And if you have any questions, drop me in the comment section. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. I actually literally used what some of you guys actually informed me using the honey, the turmeric, the lemon. It helped me. As you can see, the voice at least is back to maybe 70-80%. I just had a steam, so maybe it's 90 now. It's going to drop back to 70, but still, that was a quick and a big recovery phase. Thank you again. And if you want to join the SI family, don't forget, we're here giving the most value for anyone and everyone in that. 1,000+ members are using that, and it's your turn to use that. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.